So I've been traveling a lot. I was in Ireland. I'm okay with the Irish now. Coming back from Ireland, I had an experience that made me question everything I thought I was in terms of race. Don't think it was an uncommon experience. It was not something that people necessarily share, and I don't know that it's been this dramatic for anyone else. I'd been up for about 18 hours, and I was flying back to Los Angeles from Ireland, and we'd made it across the ocean. We were in Chicago for the last leg of the trip from O'Hare to LAX, and I had been awake a long time, and I was tweaky, frazzled, felt kind of post-trip-ish, as in hallucinogenic trip-ish, you know, where you're a little sweaty and like things are a little jangly and you're like, am I sweating chemicals, you know? And I'm on the plane, I'm sitting in the last row facing the wall where the screen is, or just around that wall is the flight attendant area. This is where the flight attendants sit in their area, and I'm sitting on the aisle. And, you know, I'm shaky. I'm drinking coffee because I'm like, why sleep? Just hold out. That thing. See, sweet, just get all the sleeping done in one shot. Don't do it. You're going to be fucked up. Your clock is all fucked up. In my head. And I get up to go to the bathroom, and I'm walking to the bathroom, and the bathroom is vacant, but standing right here next to the bathroom is a man who looks at me weird. And in that moment, I decided, he's a dubious shade of brown. Why is this man just standing by the bathroom looking at me strangely? And in that moment, I decided in my vulnerable, sleepless state that he was clearly Palestinian or Egyptian. And he had a plan. There was a problem at hand here. And I know about it, and he knows that I know. I've got to handle this properly. So he looks at me, and I look at him, and I sense that he knows that I'm on to him. And he starts to walk down the aisle, and in some sort of weird, like I thought I was being discreet. I'm going to follow him on the plane. There's no real way to discreetly follow somebody on a plane. Your space is limited. So he starts walking down the aisle. I'm like, 2, 3, 4, and I start walking. And I'm following him, and I get to the flight attendant area just in front of my seat in the middle of the plane. He keeps walking. I watch him walk through business, through first, into the cockpit flight attendant area, and I am panicked and freaking the fuck out. My eyes are bugging. I'm completely focused on what I think is about to happen, and I hear a flight attendant right here to my right go, is everything okay, sir? And I go, what? Because I knew what was happening in my head, but I knew maybe that's not a great idea to share. So she says, is everything all right, sir? And all I could come up with in that moment was, there's a situation in my head. And she said, sir, please sit down. Please sit down. And I'm like, okay. I'll sit down. Now this is the moment where I really wish that my imagination was fueled by something other than panic. It really is fueled by panic. It is not free. I've not freed my imagination to make bunnies. I don't know how to do absurdist humor or understand how to sell it. I don't understand it. I can't be light and ridiculous. My imagination doesn't do that. I'm not that guy. But if I'm fueled by panic, man, it goes to fucking town. I'm sitting there. I have been told to sit down, and I know what's happening in the cockpit. This dubious brown man who's either Palestinian or Egyptian has specially treated rubber gloves on that are soaked in an ancient toxin that he has immuned himself to by ingesting it over the past 3 months. He has already touched the neck of the co-pilot and the pilot with the toxic rubber gloves. They have gone into cardiac arrest. A pink, whitish foam is oozing out of both of their mouths as they make ghastly noises. And he's about to push them aside, get into the cockpit seat, and fly us into something. And at that moment, I look up and I hear, sir, and I'm surrounded by the entire flight crew. And I go, yeah. What's up? And they're like, well, we're concerned. Are you okay? And I'm noticing that the rest of the passengers are looking at me, and I'm like, I am not the problem here. But you can't say that because some part of you is holding on to hope that you would be wrong. Though I was a little more fragile than I should have been, but I was holding on to that hope, so I said, yeah, I'm okay. Everything's okay, knowing full well that we're moments away from plunging. And they all walk away together, and at that moment where I'm about to really lose it, the dubious brown man, who's either Palestinian or Egyptian, comes walking back down the aisle. And I swear to you, looks at me with a look of like, yeah. I knew you were one of them. That's how I read it. So nothing happened. And I sat there ashamed, angry at myself that I'd surrendered to this profiling experiment out of fear, mad at myself. I was embarrassed. And I just sat there festering in embarrassment for the rest of the flight. And we're about to land. And the flight attendant seats were right in front of me. And the woman who initially told me or asked me if everything was okay was strapping herself into her seat. And I'm just sitting there like, And we're starting to land. We're starting to approach. And she leans it to me and she says, what happened up there? And I felt like I was going to cry. And all I could say was, there was a situation in my head. And she looked at me very maternally, and she says, it happens to all of us. I can't want to do that.